Hi, good evening, and welcome to my live session. I'm sure those of you who are watching would find it strange because the background is different. Yes, because I forgot my computer with a client whom I had visited today, so I'll bring it back tomorrow morning. I was already halfway through back home, and I didn't first want to miss my 8:30 live session. Therefore, I came back home and I'll pick it up tomorrow. My name is Dinakar. I am the founder of Samutana and the inventor of DoHow, a methodology for uh, achieving challenging goals and amazing outcomes while people acquire leadership and management skills. And that's the whole essence of DoHow, a methodology which I have developed. In case you want to know more about that, please visit my website, dinakarmurthy.com it is, and then or write an email to me, dinakar@samutana.com is the email address. So with that very brief introduction, let me directly jump into the topic of the day, which is to really talk about the application of swim lane diagram. Swim lane diagram is something which I had explained yesterday as a visualization, as a tool to really understand and visualize the entire business process, especially in the indirect areas, which involves officers, which involves documentation, paper, and business processes, and not the production or the direct processes. So by doing that, I said one could get clarity on the stakeholders, one could get clarity on the roles, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, what are the process criteria, what are the templates required, and what are the sequence of steps, and what would be the exit criteria, what would be the output, and what would be the different times, touch time. Then after that, I spoke about lead time, query times, and what kind of queries you're getting. So all that can be visualized in one board, and that is called as swim lane diagram, a very very useful tool for basically improving the productivity in the indirect areas of any organization. So where can this be applied? The first thing where swim lane diagram will make an outstanding sense is in establishing the current reality. So this is something which is very very interesting. Whenever I've gone to any client to talk about their problem, it could be either not getting sufficient inquiries, or it could be something to do with the operations where the first pass yield is not good, or it could be something to do with the planning process itself, where the data which is used in planning is not really the accurate ones, or the demand forecast is not good. Whatever be it, the first thing we have done is to write a swim lane diagram to really understand who's giving the baton to whom. So yesterday I spoke about passing the baton, and this particular tool is an outstanding methodology for ensuring that everybody is on the same page when it comes to understanding who is passing the baton to whom. And once that is done, then a lot of things become clear. Why is it that we are getting delayed? Why is it that the information is not complete? For example, in this picturization, the third step has got totally four stakeholders. Out of that, one is a lead stakeholder. The other three are there for the sake of some other support, or maybe they are there as part of the team now, or maybe they're something, so where they're involved in approving some activity. So in any case, so these three and the lead stakeholder have to work together to understand and to make sure that the entire process flows smoothly, and it works like a relay race where the baton is passed from one player to another player without really anybody, what should I say, realizing that the baton was passed, because that's the seamlessness that it works with in a relay race. Similarly, in the business process also, the same thing has to happen. So by picturizing this, one understands what is the flow, whether the flow is continuous or not, whether the flow is getting interrupted, and more than anything, whether the flow is creating a lot of backlashes. When I say backlash, imagine the stakeholder number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stakeholder number 5 in the step 5 gets the task as a lead stakeholder, and then after that he needs to uh, call back the stakeholder of the first step and the second step to understand what is that he or she had meant, or the data that they have provided is not full, or it is not correct. Classic examples would be the invoice not being fully complete, the invoice numbers not being there, or the purchase order not being there in the system at all, but the invoice is already raised. So the fellow who is supposed to be processing the invoice can't process it because the purchase order is not there, or purchase order number is not matching. Things of that kind, which has to be basically the kind of a 100% quality control of the person who passed it to the next step, that has been missed out, and therefore I need to do queries. And these queries are the ones which really delays a lot in business processes, because that means that I need to wait till that particular query is answered before I can start processing. And that is a real killer, because there nothing much is happening. And since I have started one activity, I can't really jump and start doing something different. So therefore, I'm stuck with the same activity, and I continue working on the but telling everybody that I'm working on that activity, but in reality I'm not doing anything at all, because the information or the decision which was required for that activity is not thorough, or I have not understood what it is. So therefore, queries are something which is very important. All that gets visualized in this swimlane diagram. So it becomes extremely important, and it becomes very excitement. It's kind of an excitement for the entire team to really see how we can come over that situation. So therefore, current reality is one area where we can apply swimlane diagram. The other area where we can apply swimlane diagram is mindset and culture. Why is it so? See, mindset and culture, I keep telling, is always because of the past experiences, past emotional experiences that we would have had. Higher the emotion linked to an experience, higher is that impact on the mindset and the way we behave, way we perceive reality, the way we think by connecting the dots, the way we uh, decide, the way we act. All these four activities, that is perception, thought, decision, and acting or responding, all these four are influenced by those very strong emotional experiences that we have had. So therefore, each one is having their own mindset. They come with paradigms. Now, when you look at this entire thing as a holistic approach, and also as a holistic end-to-end activity which should go on in an organization, finally the objective all of us have is to succeed, and all of us have the objective of ensuring that we meet the requirements of the end customer. So when we look at that from the end customer's perspective, then a lot of things become visible. So even without explaining, even without convincing, even without trying to justify something, a lot of things become apparent, so that people start looking at the entire problem from a different perspective. And this kind of an emotional experience, to really look at it from a different perspective and then get that kind of a wow feeling, to understand why is it that this fellow is really harping all the while. My colleague from purchasing is always harping all the while because of ABC. I recognize that myself, and that's the magic of swimlane diagram, especially when it used in the area of mindset and culture. To really change the mindset and culture, it really gives a fantastic feeling, fantastic impact. That is mainly because one would really get a wow feeling having discovered something new, having got an insight. And these insights happen because of the swimlane diagram. Visualizing that itself is good enough. So that's something which one could use. And in terms of the culture, as a team, collectively, we start behaving towards the getting oriented towards the end goal, which is the customer of the particular business process. So therefore, from the local optimum, the global optimum gets focused, which again is very good for the organization and for the progress and for the productivity. So therefore, this swimlane diagram can also be applied in the area of changing the mindset and culture. So first was to ensure that the reality is understood by everybody uniformly, and then to change the mindset and culture, so that everyone in the organization starts looking at the global optimum. And while not really, what should I say, neglecting or doing his job shabbily, because when you do the swimlane diagram, you are precisely telling what needs to be done, what are the steps to be followed, what are the SOPs. All that is part of the swimlane diagram. So it's not about cutting short. It's about looking at the entire situation from a different perspective. It's like wearing a different glass. It's like wearing a different colored filter, so that you see different colors, different images, and that is what that really creates the change in the mindset and in the culture. Something which is what I remember very distinctly is I was working with one of the clients to understand how we can speed up the process from a GRN to payment. Their vendors had a problem because they would give a GRN, after that it take a long time till the payment is done. They had to do a lot of multiple follow-ups. And this company is a big, large Indian company, a very large company. And as far as the group is concerned, they got some products where they're the largest in the world. So this company had this problem of payment, for the vendors, in on-time payment, and that not because they intended to pay late, but the entire process was quite delayed. So we put a pin board, and after that started pinning these same kind of square chits which you see as post-its. And at some point of time, once we started pinning this, Then the guy started telling that, oh, here there is a problem. Here we could accelerate it. This is something which is not happening. Why should we get the report at this stage? Why can't we print it out in the other stage? Which meant that the printer had to be shifted from one department to another department. Things, normally the solutions are always easy, right? It's about finding the paths to find that easy solution. So once they started shifting the printer and the printer went there, the entire lead time came down by almost 50%. 50% reduction in the total lead time. So the processing happened more smoothly, and that's something which is really magical because I say the main action was to shift the printer. You imagine if such a easy solutions you could get in organizations, and that could happen because of the power of synergy, power of everybody looking at the problem from the customer's perspective, not from their own perspective, and that happens with swim lane diagram. Thanks a lot for watching. For those of you in India, have a nice evening. For those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. Tomorrow, same time, with my computer. I hope I would get it tomorrow. My laptop, I would be talking about the cons and negatives of swim lane diagram. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.